Hi, welcome. Lana here from Relaxed Growth. And today I'd love to share with you about building compassionate relationships and why that's important. So, the first thing that we want to consider is the value of the people that we spend the most time with. What is their state of emotional awareness? How mature are they? And what I mean by that is depending on how we grew up, what we were taught about how to meet our emotions, how to accept our emotions, how to process our emotions, and release the charge or the trigger that happens through emotional reactions so that we can become more emotionally responsive, deems this level of emotional maturity, emotional intelligence, emotional awareness. All right? So, moving forward from there, if you are spending time with emotionally aware individuals, people that take personal responsibility for what they're feeling and doing the work of understanding it, processing it, and releasing, they are going to be better equipped to meet life and the adversities that life tosses at us. This is what we're here to explore. How do we grow in the face of adversity? How are we showing up? How are we meeting it? If we are rigid and defensive, we are going to have a much more difficult time meeting life's challenges. So we want to become more resilient, more adaptable, more malleable. But this does not mean that we don't have boundaries. We don't say no to people. We do not voice what we need, what we want. It just means we are less reactive. So, compassion is defined as the feeling that arises when one is confronted with another's suffering and feels motivated to alleviate that suffering. So, there are degrees to which why someone is going to want to alleviate someone's suffering. As a mother and as a grandmother now, if I see even my children who are grown men now in pain, that triggers me. That causes me to hurt. If it's my grandson, that causes me to hurt. We have different archetypal energies, these ways that we show up in the world, act in the world, these personas. One of mine is definitely the protector. Another one is the healer. And a third one is the teacher. So if my sons or eventually my grandson, who's only 2 right now, are in a place of pain and suffering, right away that protector comes in. This part of me that wants to teach them comes in. So these different archetypal energies are going to play out through us. Also, if maybe when we were younger or growing up as we are now, and our emotions were not validated or we were diminished, minimized because we had emotional experiences that maybe weren't acceptable or maybe weren't understood, valued, respected, we might be more hypersensitized to noticing others' pain. Another thing that happens is if we deem ourselves empaths, emotional sensitives, those that are taking on everyone else's energy, feel everyone else's energy, we are going to want to fix that fast because it doesn't feel comfortable in us. We might also, on the spiritual path, decide that someone who is spiritual doesn't allow others to suffer. We try to fix them, to rescue them, which is another archetype. We want to heal them, another archetype. So check in with why you want to fix somebody and take away their suffering when you notice that there is pain, there is struggle going on. Now, one of the things that happens when we interfere with someone else's experience of meeting and understanding and accepting that pain is a part of life, and then take away their experience to learn how to process their emotions, and then move through it or release what is dense, what is no longer going to serve that full loop experience, is we take away their opportunity to grow emotionally more independent. So this is so important because we are here to learn, to grow, to evolve, to become more adept emotionally, more emotionally aware, more emotionally intelligent, more emotionally mature, so that we can, again, better meet life and whatever life throws at us. Okay? So what ends up happening as well is, if we are constantly wanting to fix that person's pain and suffering and anguish, we can get stuck then, those individuals that are in that experience of pain, suffering, anguish, etc., they can get stuck in post-traumatic stress disorder. So they can get stuck in either the trauma or the impact, the lingering, the echoes, the memories of that trauma, PTSD. So if we allow them and empower them and encourage them, remind them, hold their hand, bear witness to them as they're going through these emotional growth experiences, they get to move into what's called post-traumatic growth, PTG. I did speak about this in a previous video where I spoke about learning to live in more ease. So we want to help ourselves and others move into the post-traumatic growth experience. This is where we've done the awareness, the acceptance, we've done the processing, we've done the releasing. Now we get to grow. We become more adept. We become stronger, more resilient, more self-trusting that we have what it takes to move through difficult things and land on our feet and continue to open our heart rather than shut it down and fear life and fear others. So what I'd love to share with you now are 5 ways that taking the time to reevaluate who you might be spending time with is to your advantage. This will also help you to discern if the individuals in your life are really helping to encourage your growth, your self-agency, your autonomy, your remembering that you are so much stronger. We are nature. Nature is resilient. We are just not reminded of that as we grow up. And we live in a time right now where everyone is getting triggered, and it is really almost unsafe to say things because people are getting hurt all the time. So emotional resiliency is it's not something common now, and we need to bring this back. We got to bring this to the forefront because this is imperative for us to be able to walk through life strongly, confidently. So number 1, compassionate people practice emotional maturity and intelligence, making them less judgmental and critical. They understand hardship. They understand falling down. They understand having to pick themselves back up, grow their emotional muscles, and it makes them less critical of you. They understand that, you know what? We grow through learning. So they are going to be so much more encouraging of you when you consider, oh, I've erred, I've messed up, I've screwed up. No, they're going to be the first ones to go, but look what you did do. You got back up again. What did you learn from this? How did you grow from that? So please check in. Are your circles of friends able to support you, or do they pick on you and cut you down and show you where you went wrong? Okay. Number 2, compassionate individuals bring empathy and care to conversations. So these individuals are going to be helping to elevate and inspire the conversations. They're not doing spiritual bypassing where it's like, well, you know, good or bad things happen to good people too. No, they're going to have intelligent conversations with you that help to ground you and anchor you into the growth component of what's happened. They will be able to be more objective. There might be conversations that help you to recognize sometimes when we've got too much going on, or an emotion that is new to us, a big emotion, that these can be hard to handle. And it's important to reach out to people that you trust, people that are discerning, people that are kind, but people that are realistic as well and have experience with emotional growth. And they are going to be your biggest supporters. They're going to help you to get very practical, very objective. They're going to, again, remind you, you've got what it takes. But don't judge yourself if you didn't know how to do this well. Now you are more adept, more able when the next time comes. Number 3, compassionate friends are often better listeners because they often also understand what it feels like to not be understood, to not be seen, to not be heard, to not be valued for expressing their emotions and really investing in wanting to do their emotional conversations in a healthier way, which means less reactive and more responsive. So these are really grounded, good, solid listeners, all right? And they are really good at not taking on your stuff because they have healthy emotional boundaries around that. Number 4, compassionate relationships can help hold us lovingly accountable. So when we're not being kind to ourselves or heart-centered in our words, in our behaviors, in our practices, they can lovingly yet firmly help steer us back on course to where we are best able to support ourselves, which is from the heart. Number 5, compassionate people often encounter the world through a felt sense awareness that is filtered through the heart first. Then they filter their words, their reflections, their observations, their guidance back through the mind. So if we are just meeting somebody from the mind first, we are not feeling what that individual is going through. We are wanting to fix it. We are wanting to offer them a strategy, a process, a practice, a systematic way to get through something. When we are doing emotional growth work, emotional healing and processing and releasing work, so that we integrate into a more whole human, we want to be felt. We want to be met by somebody that can feel us because that helps validate us. It helps to make what is kind of strange an emotional intelligence, emotionally investing in your growth is not the norm. It is incredibly unsettling and destabilizing and is required, it's going to require a lot of bravery, a lot of courage to do this work. So it's not the norm. So we want to be met by somebody, validated by somebody that feels us and uses words that reference, I feel what you're saying. I feel what you're struggling with. I feel what you're attempting to convey rather than this is what you need to do. Well, there is room for strategy, but we want to be met first by this feeling person. So I really hope that this helps you to honor that your emotions are an energetic experience. And the stronger you get in your emotions, the stronger your energy field is also going to be, which means you will repel those that are operating at a lower frequency emotionally from fear, guilt, shame, victimization, trauma, and maybe projecting onto you. And to those that are operating from more kindness, compassion, love, empathy, sensitivity, inclusivity. So if I can be of help for you, I do one-on-one coaching. I have a 9-month mentoring program coming up in the fall of 2024. I also offer retreats, workshops, and trainings. So look for me at lanaboyuk.com. My expertise is helping individuals grow more emotional comfort and courage within themselves so that they can meet the instability that life is going to promise from a place that feels more grounded, more calm, and more centered. lanaboyuk.com. The link will be below. Blessings to you, love, and so much encouragement as you traverse this journey to emotional wholeness.